Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Lynn Renee McDonald for Practical Spirituality Live here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Tonight, it's late. I haven't had 5 minutes, but it's classic for 2019. It is already, we're only 10 days into it, and it is a fantastic year. Fantastic stuff is happening for everybody across the board. Okay, so tonight what I wanted to talk to you about is something that I see so many times when I go everywhere, all over, when I'm traveling and when people come in and see me, and I run into so many clients and so many people and so many at all different vibrations in their spiritual journey. And I meet just some amazingly gifted people, brilliant. I mean, these people are just brilliant, all right? And they're so connected and gifted to spirit. So tonight what I wanted to talk to you about is what I call the spiritual disconnect. It's pretty crazy stuff. I define, or spirit defines, the spiritual disconnect as when somebody, it's like you think you get it and they don't really get it. All right. So what this means is, there's all different levels, all right, vibrations of being spiritual. Vibrations, meaning there's all different levels of spirituality within all that is earth world reality. Okay, there's all different levels, and there's all different levels up here too, and all different levels along the way in every different dimension. Okay, so I totally need some sage. Had a great class tonight. Let me just see here. All right, so there's all different levels of spirituality, like I said, in all different vibrations, at all different dimensions. All right, but for the purpose of this video, we're in earth world dimension. So like I said, I see many clients, many people. I go to different shows, different events, different spaces everywhere, every day in my life, and I see people who are super, super gifted. With whatever their gifts, and they're channeling. Clearly they're channeling. They're channeling with their music. They're channeling with their writing. They're channeling with their art. They're channeling with their spiritual teachings. They're channeling as psychics. They're channeling as healers. They're channeling and they're really, really amazingly gifted. All right. So what's crazy is that all because people are super, super gifted and are able to tap into their God love energy space, which is part of their passion and their soul and what they came here to do, their God love energy connection, all right? All because they are super gifted like that does not mean that they get it spiritually, okay? Like consciously get it and work from that place. There's like all different places within your spiritual journey that people can be. All right. So all because like I know Taylor Swift is a super gifted since she was a kid. Her soul came in here to do this, and I think in one of her videos she literally just said, she channels basically, and a few other singers and actors and actresses have said that, and it's just amazing how they know that they channel, but yet they're not consciously connected and working with spirit so many times, and not all the time, and at different levels of doing this, and are at different levels of doing this. What's amazing is, so you'll see bits and pieces of people that are super love energy channels, including and especially spiritual people. I see them be able to tap in and do amazing, amazing, amazing God magic or love energy magic, or let's say, and they really are super, super, super gifted. All right. But the issue is they're not tapping into God. They're not talking to love energy all the time. They're not working from in here with here and here 24/7. They're not doing it. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, you're missing the whole fucking boat here, because here's your gifts. And here's where you're standing. Right? We have a cool thing. We have a lighter, a hair clip, and a pen to represent these three things tonight. All right. So here's your gifts. All right. This is their channel. All right. And here they are in this earth world reality where they're not spiritually, what is the word I'm looking for? They're not spiritually connecting in earth world reality with this and doing. Okay, so they're in three different spaces. They're not, and it's funny because it's like the major three connect God, what I call the God love energy connection in earth world. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you got to have those three things. Okay, you have to connect with love energy that is God. Okay, consciously. And from in here, your highest heart self, your love energy space in your soul, okay? And here, okay? So this is one thing, all right? This is working consciously with God. So, when you do that, you tap into all of your spiritual gifts, not just part of them. So let's say, if Taylor Swift isn't talking to spirit and working with spirit, love energy, all right? She's only working with this part of her gifts, okay? This part of her gifts would be her gift to channel, and yet she knows she's a channel, but she's missing the whole boat because she's not working consciously with love energy. And as gifted as she is, she could be the gifted greatness of all that is, as opposed to just this, right? Now the other key here, all right, so does everyone understand that? All because people are super, super, super gifted does not mean they're in the God love energy space consciously and working from that place with spirit all the time, okay? Does not mean that. You know if people are by what they do across the board. And that's the third piece. The third piece. 1, 2, 3. All right, your channeling gifts, your gifts, whatever they are, they're channeled from love energy, your soul's mission, highest heart self. All right, from here, consciously knowing, working here. All right, so you're doing this subconsciously. You're doing this many times. They're not even consciously knowing it, but they're channeling. Steve Jobs channeled the iPhone. Bill Gates channeled his gifts. Harry Potter, she channeled. Whether they realize it or not, that's what's going on a subconscious level in their soul. So I call that this first piece, right? So we all do it. We all have super magic gifts, and we channel our gifts from love energy. Whether we consciously realize it or not, it's a whole different story. Now, that's the first part. Like I said, the second part, all right, so all those people, all right, are love energy beings ultimately that are doing that. They're channeling their gifts, okay? We all do it depending on what our souls came in here to do, either consciously, subconsciously, and at all different vibrational levels, depending on what we came here to experience, what we came here to heal, clear, change, and create in this reality, and where we want to go within ourselves and with love energy that is God, either subconsciously within our soul or consciously here and within our soul, which is consciously meaning knowingly we do this work, okay, in our lives, okay, or not consciously knowing, all right? Now, if you consciously work with God, right, this is the guy that's consciously working with love energy that is God, okay, all right, this guy here, all right, if he works with this, like if I'm a guy and I have this, or a person and I work consciously with God like I do, and then I have my gifts, wow, I put those together and I'm even more powerful, super, super, super powerful. But then if I had the third piece where I actually do in this reality, oh my God, imagine if I could actually get things done in earth world reality and combine all these three, all right? Because it isn't enough to just channel. It isn't enough to just know how to work with God, and it isn't enough to know how to just channel, or whether consciously or not consciously. If you're doing it subconsciously, your soul's just doing what it came in here to do, and it already knows it. Whether you're aware of it or not, it's doing its thing. Okay, but when you consciously work in all three, with all three of these gifts, is where you become your greatest you. And when you see people who are in a spiritual space and are not in that space, okay? All right. So when you're all three of these things, you become the greatest you that you came here to be, and you can do anything. You have love energy magic to create your greatest life, your greatest everything, and in all areas of your life. Your truest happiness, most highest form of love energy, highest form of enlightenment, highest form spiritual teacher, or whatever it is that you dream of being and wish to be, depending on what you came in here to do in your soul. The issue is when I see people who have disconnects, and I see it all the time in spiritual reality. I go to spiritual shows, I go to spiritual shops and centers, and so there's all different vibrations of that, of all different levels, okay? So when there is a disconnect, people are not able to do. This is the do pen, okay? They're not able to do and get things done. Sometimes they can channel, but they can't complete the pen. picture by getting things done. Or they can channel, all right, but they don't work with God consciously. You'll see some incredible psychics and healers and even teachers, but if they're not consciously connecting to spirit and doing in their reality, then they're in a less than space. All right, a lot of my clients are spiritual people, of course, and a lot of them are lawyers and doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists. And what's amazing about these people is they're brilliantly gifted channels. They're brilliant up here. They're brilliant in their souls in here, right? They're brilliant. All right. So they're channeling their brilliance through their souls and in here. Okay. So, and it works all together to do their gifts that they came in here for. Okay. The issue that I see so many times is that they don't have a clue of this, working with love energy that is God all the time. They just don't got it. They don't get it. They don't know how to do it. They're not in that space. And therefore, that causes a disconnect, because then in their reality, where you're actually doing and living in this reality, there is issues. There's always going to be issues if you're just channeling, all right, and you're not doing in your reality and you're not working with God, love energy on a 24/7 basis as much as you can. You're not asking, all right, you're not working with love energy to create your greatest life. So these people are at a deficit. See it all the time. I see really brilliant people who tell me, psychiatrist, there's a psychiatrist that I know, and he does counseling and all this stuff, and he's really gifted. And while I love to have intense, incredible intellectual conversations with him because he's magical, all right, just like one of my exes, same thing, a nuclear engineer, fantastically intelligent, wicked intelligence. And it's great to talk to these people, but on some level, they're missing the God piece, the conscious working with love energy and being able to do their magic of gift of intelligence, working with this in this earth world reality, doing all of this. They can't do it. Okay, they're not in that space. So when you see people and you're like, wow, they're so gifted, why aren't they being so much more than they could actually be? I see them being so much greater, or they're sick, or they're mentally ill, or they have all these other problems in their lives. It's because they're not combining all three of the God magic tools, which is not your channeling gifts, which is going to automatically happen, all right, much of the time, all right, and you're not consciously working with love energy, all right, and you're not doing in this earth world reality. All right. So that's to give you an example of two brilliant people that I know of that are super, super, super gifted. Okay. And until they consciously get wisdom, all right, their magical intellect gift, until they get wisdom and practice these two in this reality, doesn't happen. And actually do things in earth world reality. It doesn't happen. So that's a really good example. It's like I can sit here and talk to them about all the books and all the tests and all the great things that they've accomplished intellectually in their life, and it's wonderful. However, when it comes right down to it, there's a huge disconnect. I could talk to them about the God thing and the wisdom thing, and they just don't get it because they just don't have it in them, and they're not in that space. But here's the thing, though. All you got to do is ask love energy, ask, work with God, and do, because you're already set up here by your soul to come in here and do this work, right? Super cool gifts, right? Super cool, amazing. All right, so I see a lot of spiritual people, same thing, or they shut themselves off consciously, subconsciously, with their beliefs in their soul, all right? Like they think because they're psychic, this is the space that they're in, this is all they're supposed to do, so they can only do only be a psychic, or they can only be a healer, or they can only be a writer or a teacher or this, all right? And we so many times stop ourselves because our gifts of channeling are limitless. Our gifts of working with God are limitless. Our gifts of doing in this earth world reality are limitless. We have the power to be all three, the action number of God to create your greatest reality. It's 2019, action number 2019, number 3, God, create your greatest reality using all three of these tools. So when you see a deficit in anyone in your life, whether, no matter how gifted, whether they're a nuclear engineer, a writer, a mathematician, a historian, an actuary, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a doctor, a lawyer, an attorney, and they're all sorts of unwell, all right, it's because they're not using all of their gifts, whoops, to change and create their best life. They're not doing, they're not working with God, and they're only using a part of all of their magic, not the whole picture. So when you see people who just don't get it or have messed up things in their lives, meaning they're broken, this is the problem. They're having some kind of disconnect within them. Okay, I call it the spiritual disconnect, because I sit there and I go, wow, sometimes I can talk to these intellectual people, right? These really gifted people, but yet I can't get through to them because they don't get the wisdom space. They don't get the gift of working with God. And, and then another thing I see too, so there's a disconnect, all right? And then there's the ability to do in this reality. And sometimes they'll have the ability to be intellectual, right? Or have their intellectual channeling gifts, and they do in society, but they imagine how much more they could be, because then their life becomes really, really fucked up because they're only focusing here and here, and they think this is all their greatness. Right, the doing and the channeling, when really they wouldn't have to suffer anything, and they could be all greatness in all areas of their life if they just got the God piece of it, right? Really, that's the truth. Truth is, all right? So it's about you having all of these three awesome components of love energy that is God. It's like a trifecta, right? Trifecta, being able to do all three things. I'm sure that's no accident, okay? So, and the other kind of disconnect, it's multiple different kinds of disconnects that people can have. So another kind of thing that I see with disconnects, let me just see here. Can you bring me back to that spirit now? All right, is where people we talked about people doing, getting the channeling factor and actually doing and not being able to work with God and be in their wisdom space. The other thing that happens is in their lives is that when they think this is all their success, but if you're not successful in every area of your life, you're missing the God piece. You're totally missing the wisdom factor, and wisdom trumps everything. So without this piece, you're fucked, because all of these are part of wisdom, but it's like having a puzzle that's not finished, and sometimes I sit there and I talk to people. I'm like, hey man, you could be this and this and this. And they're like, I know that. I already know that. I've read books on this. I've done all of this. Really? Well, if you were really fucking doing it, right? If you were really fucking doing it, you'd be the whole combo deal, and your life would be fucking awesome, and you'd be working with spirit all the time. There would be no disconnects. You would have no unwellnesses because you would work with God all the time, and you'd be your greatest fucking success that you came here to be in all areas of your life. So maybe you might be successful in your career, right? If you just do, let's say, these two things where you're super wise and gifted, not super wise, but super gifted, which is wisdom in itself, all right? And you're just doing, but you're not working consciously with God, conscious wisdom, right? You're not working in that space. Then guess what happens? That's when things go wrong in their lives, They may be super, super career successful, and they believe that their career, that's their whole life. Then they don't have a family. They don't have, and not that that's what you have to have. Some people come in to just do those things and do different forms of magic. But by the wellness and the energy of the souls, how it feels by reading their energy, what they're doing, what's happening in their actual lives, what they're doing. Are they getting DWIs? Are they addicted to drugs? Are they emotionally or mentally or physically disturbed, sick, or unwell in any way, shape, or form? Because that's where they're missing the God connection. So everything I'm talking about is apparent. It's what I call the God energy or love energy disconnect. And it's in spiritual people, it's in healers, it's in everybody, everywhere, if they're not working with these three magical components. The God, love, energy trifecta. Okay? Wicked cool shit. Okay, so remember that the next time you see somebody and they're telling you that, they get their spiritual stuff and they know, right? I hear it all the fucking time, and from really high end Christ consciousness beings who they're on the path, and God bless them, they're on the path, but they think they get it, but they're not really getting it until you're doing these three. You're at a loss, a deficit, a disconnect in some way, shape, or form, okay? So have a great night, but I hope this video here helps you understand how deficits happen in people in this reality. Because until we're all working with love energy consciously in all areas of our life with everything, because that's the answer to everything. Whatever issue I have, I'm like, okay, source, I need this. I need to know this. I need to do this. How do I do this? Thank you for all these gifts now, please, in the best way for me and all or something better. This creates my greatest life, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm teaching everybody this because this is the key here for the whole world. All right. Love energy since the beginning of time. This is what Christ taught. Work with love energy that is God consciously. Kingdom of heaven is right here inside of you. Here's all your magic, people. Get in that space. Be the greatest you. All right. Have a great night.